Imagine an enemy with no face, no voice, no eyes, no intention, and yet it was capable of toppling empires, redefining medicine, and changing the way we touch, breathe, and live. This is the history of viruses. It does not begin in hospitals. It does not begin in laboratories. It does not begin with microscopes. It begins before humanity even existed, before life, or alongside it, long before the first human walked the earth. Life was already fighting silent battles. Billions of years ago, the primordial oceans teemed with simple microorganisms, bacteria, archaea, rudimentary forms of life. And there, in the middle of this microscopic chaos, something strange emerged. Something that was not exactly alive, but not dead either. Viruses. They do not breathe. They do not feed. They do not reproduce on their own. But they possess something powerful. Genetic information. A virus is essentially a fragment of code, an instruction. It only lives when it invades another cell and turns it into a factory that produces copies of itself. To this day, scientists debate, did viruses emerge before life, helping to shape it, or did they arise from life itself? Fragments that learn how to spread? We do not know for certain, but we do know one thing. Without viruses, life as we know it might not even exist. Viruses as architects of evolution. It may sound strange, but viruses are not merely destroyers. They are invisible engineers of evolution. By infecting organisms over millions of years, viruses transfer genes between species. They mix information. They created mutations. It is estimated that about 8% of human DNA comes from ancient viruses that infected our ancestors and stayed. Yes, a part of you is viral. Viruses help shape the immune system, genetic diversity, and even fundamental processes of life. But when humanity emerged, that relationship changed. The first encounters with the invisible. For thousands of years, humans had no idea what viruses were. They only saw the effects. Diseases that appeared out of nowhere. Mysterious fevers, spots on the skin, rapid, unexplained deaths. The causes were attributed to spirits, divine punishment, foul air, curses. One of humanity's first major encounters with a virus was devastating. Smallpox. Smallpox, the virus that shaped history. For centuries, smallpox was a death sentence. It left deep scars on the body, and even deeper scars on history. It killed pharaohs, kings, emperors. It is estimated that in the 20th century alone, smallpox killed more than 300 million people. It followed armies, traveled aboard ships, crossed continents. When Europeans arrived in the Americas, they did not bring only weapons. They brought viruses. Smallpox devastated entire indigenous populations with no immunity. Civilizations vanished. An invisible enemy decided wars without ever fighting. The fear that could not be seen. Throughout history, viruses have been behind some of humanity's greatest tragedies. Measles, polio, the Spanish flu, yellow fever, HIV, Ebola, COVID-19. The Spanish flu of 1918 killed more people than World War I. Entire cities fell silent. Hospitals overflowed. Bodies were buried in haste. And no one truly knew what they were facing, because viruses were too small to be seen. When the invisible becomes visible, everything changed in the 20th century. With advances in science and the creation of the electron microscope, something unimaginable happened. For the first time, humanity saw a virus. It was not a monster. It had no threatening shape. It was simple, almost elegant, a microscopic capsule carrying instructions. It was a shock. Humanity realized it had been fighting, for millennia, something it had never seen. And finally, it began to understand. Vaccines, the first great turning point. With the understanding of viruses came one of the greatest weapons in human history. Vaccines. The idea was brilliant in its simplicity. Teach the body how to defend itself before the real attack. Thanks to vaccines, smallpox was eradicated. Polio was nearly eliminated. Millions of lives were saved. It was a historic victory. But viruses never stopped. Viruses, masters of adaptation. A virus does not think. It does not plan. It has no consciousness. But it adapts. It changes, mutates, evolves rapidly. That is why new viruses emerge. That is why variants appear. That is why vigilance can never stop. Every time a virus replicates, there is a chance of error. And some of those errors make it more transmissible or more resistant. It is a constant race. Humanity versus the invisible. The 21st century and the global shock. Then came the pandemic. The modern world, connected, technological, confident, came to a halt. COVID-19 revealed something many have forgotten. Even with all our science, we are still vulnerable. Touch became a risk. The air became suspect. Other people became threats. A microscopic virus was able to close borders, halt economies, change global habits, rewrite recent history, and more than that, it forced us to reflect. Are viruses only enemies? Today, science is beginning to see viruses differently. They are being used in genetic therapies, in the fight against cancer, in controlling resistant bacteria. Viruses once feared are now also tools. They are not good nor evil. They are part of nature, like earthquakes, like storms, like time itself. What this story really teaches us. The history of viruses is not just about disease. It is about humility. It reminds us that we do not control everything, that life is fragile, that the invisible can be more powerful than any army. But it also reminds us of our ability to learn, to cooperate, to create solutions. Because in the end, it was not strength that brought us this far. It was knowledge,